It's showtime. What's up, good people, and welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the baddest, and the best show on earth. And guess who we have today? My boy, my brother, Dominican E. What's up, E?
What's up, Frank? What's up? What's going on?
Shoot, E, we're in the midst of a hot and heavy playoff battle right now. Your Suns got swept. Your Suns, ha ha ha. Lakers are out 4-1. But E, we had a heck of a game last night, E. The Knicks were up 6 with 25 seconds to go. Philadelphia comes back. Tyrese Maxey goes crazy. E, Maxey goes crazy. Brunson takes, I think, 8 out of 10 shots in the overtime. The guy needs to share the ball, okay? This is a problem. And the Knicks lose a game they should have won, a closeout game in the Garden. So now we got 6 and 7 left, Eric. 6 in Philadelphia, 7 potentially in New York. All right, Knicks up 3-2 in the series. Who you got winning the series, E?
I still got the Knicks. The series goes back to Philadelphia for Game 6. It's going to be a tough one for the Knicks to pull that one out. But I see them coming back home for Game 7 with MSG going crazy, and I think they pull it out in Game 7.
E, Game 6 in Philly. Knicks won the last game in Philly. Knicks fans came out and showed out. Embiid talked about it in the press. Boy, Philadelphia is going to show out. Philadelphia wins Game 6 in Philly. Game 7 comes back to New York, and the best player on the court wins. In a Game 7, I'm always taking the best player on the court. And the best player on the court is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is going to give you another 50 ball, close out the Knicks. The Knicks lose the series. Jalen Brunson had a great year. New York laments losing last night's Game 5 closeout game at home. Losing 7. Joel Embiid, 50 ball in the championship. And in Game 7. Watch. All right, E. So listen, I had to recap that because that was a really good game last night. E, let's go right into a versus. All right, we do our versus. We compare players. We compare teams at times, compare things. Question, out the gate, who are you taking right now, Eric, if you're starting the franchise? Anthony Edwards or Jason Tatum? Who are you taking right now? Edwards or Tatum, E? Talk to me, E. Talk to me, E.
I'm going with Ant-Man because to continue to grow as a player. He hasn't reached his ceiling yet as a player. So I'm going with Ant-Man because of his continuous growth as a player. So I'm going with Ant-Man.
Okay, who's the better player right now, E? Who's the better player right now?
Who's the better player right now?
Yes.
I mean, we have to compare everything that they have accomplished in the game of basketball. So I'm going to go with Tatum right now because of everything he has accomplished right now. You know what I'm saying? Taking his team to the finals, even though they lost, taking the team to the finals, been to multiple Eastern Conference finals. So I'm going with Tatum right now. But if I was starting the franchise, I would go with Ant-Man.
Ooh, E, those are good answers, E, but I got to go Ant-Man and Ant-Man. I like Tatum. Tatum's never won a ring. He's choked a lot of times in the championship series, playoff series. Tatum's a great player. Great, great, great player. But Ant-Man is something special. It's just something special about Ant-Man. Get your popcorn ready every time he plays. His personality, he's charismatic, his charisma, everything about him is popcorn, but he's also delivering on the field. So mine is just the popcorn part. He's exciting to watch. He's also delivering in a major way. Now I understand what you're saying, E. He has not reached the heights of Tatum in terms of team success. I'm with you on that. I understand that, but I still think he's a better player today. And I absolutely think he's a better player upside wise. So I'm going Ant is better today and Ant is better upside wise. But I understand what you're saying when you talk about Tatum. He's definitely had a more decorated career. Again, he's been in the NBA for longer, but I still think he's a better player today, Ant-Man is. But two great players, probably the two best American players left in the NBA, right? John Morant would have been there, but John Morant bugged out. So now you got Tatum and Edwards, right? Those are probably the two best American players. With the foreign invasion, right? Shea is a Canadian, Jokic is Serbian, Doncic, Slovenian. So Antetokounmpo is Greek by way of Nigeria. So our last hope is American guys, Tatum, Edwards, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now, E, this one, we got to talk this one, E. Kyrie Irving or Jalen Brunson? Who you picking? Kyrie Irving or Jalen Brunson?
I mean, I'm going with Kyrie Irving just because of
Oh,
the decorated career he's had so far. I mean, he's won an NBA title. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give him the edge on that. I mean, he's had a stellar career. You know, he had his bumps, he had his up and downs, his career, some of the stuff he said. But I mean, as overall talent, I'm going with Kyrie Irving, just because of, like you said earlier, with Ant-Man, he's must-see TV, popcorn, get your popcorn ready. You know, Brunson's a good young player, but he's a boring player. You know what I'm saying? He's not a guy that's gonna, you know, put people in the arena. Kyrie is gonna put people in the arena. He's gonna fill the arena up. Brunson, great young player, but he's boring to watch. Old school basketball. You know, great young player, but I'm going with Kyrie.
Oh, Eric. This is why I know you don't know what you're talking about when we talk hoops. Dominican E. And you in New York, by the way. And Brunson is in New York. So let's talk about this. You keep giving me this popcorn thing. I was very clear about AD when I said not only is he popcorn, but he also produces on the court. The question wasn't who's popcorn. The question was who's a better player. It's not even close, Eric. Brunson is probably the fourth guy in the MVP conversation this year. The first guy you assume is Jokic. Doncic is in that conversation. Tatum is in that conversation. And after that, it's probably Jalen Brunson. Forget about how boring his game is. He's a better player. He's playing at an MVP level. And not only is he playing at an MVP level, Mr. E, but you're forgetting one thing that's important. He single-handedly changed Knick culture, the Knicks organization, with your boy Kyrie, which I love Kyrie. We love Kyrie. We watch Kyrie play. We watch Kyrie growing up. Kyrie's a player that I would prefer to watch. But I have to be objective in this question and talking about who's the better player. Hands down, Kyrie Irving, culturally, it's horrible for organizations. Culturally, he's been terrible, right? Ask Cleveland about that. Ask the Boston Celtics about that, all right? So culturally, not as good, right? One guy revolutionized an organization, and the guy's playing better at MVP level. The answer, emphatically, unequivocally, without a doubt, is Jalen Brunson.
But Frank,
Eric?
we're talking about overall career, or we're talking about today? His overall
No,
career.
it's who you're going to take right now. Better.
I'm still gonna take Kyrie because Kyrie is gonna sell seats. He's gonna sell tickets. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna sell tickets. He's gonna fill your arena up. You know what I'm saying? And right now, if you got to put everything, compile everything together, talent, the main draw, he's an attraction. He's dazzling on the court. So you got to take all that into consideration. I got Kyrie.
Okay, E, as a sidebar to this argument, all right, is Kyrie, as a sidebar, the most skilled offensive player ever?
Most skilled offensive player ever. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Sidebar.
Nah, he's not the most skilled. For his size, yes. For his size, yes. For his size, but I don't think he's the most skillful player ever. But for his size, yes, yes. I
Okay.
got him over my
Okay.
favorite player, Isaiah Thomas.
Say it again.
I got him over my favorite player, Isaiah Thomas. As
Oh,
far
oh,
as
he's way
skill,
more skilled. I mean, come on, bro. Let's.
you know what
Isaiah's
I'm saying?
fantastic. Isaiah's had a better career. Let's be clear. But
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving's more skilled. Isaiah hands down is a better player. I mean,
yeah.
John Stockton is better than Isaiah Thomas, but Isaiah Thomas. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Isaiah's better than John. I knew that I was gonna get a rise out of you, E. Pause. I knew that I was gonna get you a little. You know what I'm saying, E? But nah,
yeah.
Isaiah's better
No
than
diddy, no
Stockton.
diddy, no diddy.
So E, I got another playoff question. Okay, do you think next series Denver versus Minnesota? Do you think Minnesota has a chance to win that series, E?
Ooh, that's yes. I think they do. I think they do, just because they have the size to throw at Jokic. I think they could, because of the size factor. You got Gobert, you got Towns, you got some size to throw at Jokic. I think that can help them. It's going to be tough, but I think because of the size factor, they got a chance. They got a fighter's chance.
Right. So I think it's going to be interesting, right? I think they have a chance too. And I think the reason why they have a chance is because Jamal Murray is not himself. If you watch the Lakers series, Jamal Murray, he showed up when he needed to at the very end. And it was because the Lakers have probably the worst defensive backcourt in the NBA. The Lakers have the worst, D'Lo and Reeves, it's probably the worst defensive backcourt in the NBA. So, Murray played horrible all game long until in the last 5 minutes of the game, he took over playing against those horrible guards. But Murray doesn't seem like himself, Eric. I think he was hurt the last game he played. Jokic has been Jokic, but I don't feel like Murray's himself. So I do believe that they have a very, very good chance. And also, McDaniels defensively is going to be very, very hard on Murray, right? Jaden McDaniels for Minnesota is going to give Murray fits, right? Tall, long, athletic, fit. I think, we talked earlier about Anthony Edwards. Boy, you got Anthony Edwards. You got Karl Anthony Towns. Shout out your Dominican brother, Karl Anthony Towns, one of the most talented offensive guys in the NBA. Rudy Gobert playing defense on Jokic. I got Minnesota winning that series with the way Ant-Man is playing and the way they're clicking. I'm taking Minnesota in that series, E.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm taking Minnesota.
I mean, listen, Denver has the more experience.
Yes.
And they still got Jokic, top 3 player in the NBA. Is Murray
top 1?
Up? Yeah,
top 1.
1, 2.
Come on.
They still got Murray a little bit banged up.
No. I can't let you say or 2. He's the number 1 player in the NBA. Who's 1 if he's 2?
I mean, we can argue that. I mean, a healthy Giannis. We can go back and forth with that. Healthy Giannis.
Well, the guy has more MVPs, right? I mean, Jokic is the better player right now. But anyway, I.E. And then E, let me ask you this question as we talking hoops before we switch topics, okay? This is something that bothers me, E. I gotta get my money. I'm about to call my investment bank, E, and I'm gonna buy me an NBA franchise, E. Because these guys out here don't know what they're doing. E, I'm about to call my guy right now, my guy Goldman Sachs, E, and I'm about to buy an NBA franchise. E, let me ask you a question.
I've been telling you for years, Frank.
E, these GMs out here, Eric, are atrocious. Let me ask you a question, Eric, okay? What do you feel about these GMs continuing to overpay, right, and sign these guys that always are hurt, Eric, right? And then ultimately you get into the playoffs, E, and you can't win because your best players get hurt. Let me give you a few examples, E. Let me give you some examples, E. Are you ready?
Go ahead, I'm ready.
Porzingis. Celtics signed Porzingis. Porzingis, taking us to a next level. Porzingis, career-wise, is always hurt. Right or wrong, E?
Yeah, that's a fact. That's facts. Facts.
So now all of a sudden we get deep into the playoffs. Okay, not even deep into the playoffs yet. And what happens? Porzingis gets what, Eric? Porzingis gets hurt. Okay? That's 1, E. Let me go number 2, E, to the guy of all guys who's always hurt. The great Kawhi Leonard. The great Kawhi Leonard. Eric, the guy's always hurt.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes, facts.
And look, E. And how about this, E? And they re-signed him now to a new contract. 3-year, $152 million, E. How do you re-sign the guy? And by the way, he's hurt again tonight. Okay? Game 5 against the Dallas Mavericks. Eric, unbelievable. Kawhi Leonard. And you re-sign him. Okay? And then last but not least, Eric Martinez. All right? The great Mr. Glass himself. Anthony, Mr. Glass Davis. The guy's always hurt, E. Right? Mm-hmm. You watched him playing against Denver. He was ineffective that last game down the stretch. E, he bumped into Porter, and it wasn't even like it was a hard bump. E, it was a love tap, and the guy's shoulder looked like it came out.
Yeah.
It was a love tap, and the guy was writhing on the floor in pain. Was playing with a dead arm and couldn't be effective in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Street clothes, Anthony Davis, street clothes.
Oh, Eric, what are these guys doing, Eric, the way these guys are putting these teams together, bro? I don't get it. You got the Sun, and then we talk about from an injury perspective, and you talk about the Suns and the guy putting a team together with no point guard, right? And no real bench, right? And they put that team together terribly, right? But E, what do you think about these guys signing these injured players?
Yeah, it's terrible. I think these guys. It's proven that these guys are not players that's going to withstand, 82 game season and then plus the playoffs. It's a fact. These guys are constantly getting hurt throughout their career. I think it's sad for some of them. You know what I mean? AD. You know what I'm saying? Back problem, shoulder problem, ankle problem throughout his entire career, and then you keep signing them. You keep
Keep
signing.
on going. Keep on going. E, back, ankle, shoulder, knee, toes, nose,
Right?
head, shoulders, knees, and toes, everything, bro.
So you keep signing these guys. I don't understand why you keep signing these guys to multi-million-dollar deals. You know what I mean? Multi-years. If you're gonna
Unbelievable.
sign them for a 2-year deal, maybe you get the best out of them in those 2 years. But to sign up for a multi-million-dollar deal, that's setting your franchise back years. So again, some of these players, I don't know. Maybe they're not built like back in the days. I don't know. I mean, guys used to have to go through the Pistons, back to New York Knicks, the Indiana Pacers with the Davis boys. I mean, these were tough times, and these guys nowadays is like, I don't know. I just don't get why these guys are not durable. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, E.
But it's sad. It's
Unbelievable,
sad.
Eric.
It's sad.
I think low maintenance. I thought low management, I think, has adversely affected players, right? You even look at baseball with pitchers. Pitchers are more guys are messing up their arms than they've ever been before, right? And they limit the amount of starts guys have, and they monitor. And I guess guys also throwing different pitches. But I think in basketball too, low management has adversely affected the game, right? Because you see the real greats, always played, right? Which is interesting. E. So let's switch gears now, okay? Let's switch gears and let's talk a little college football. Okay. Just the other day, the great Reggie Bush. I'm gonna say this because Reggie Bush was probably one of the top 5 best college football players that we saw. E. He was electric, Eric. He was electric. When he was at USC, every time he touched the ball, your eyes were affixed to the TV. Okay, electric. Okay, the Heisman Collective just gave him his Heisman back. He lost his Heisman because he allegedly, right, received impermissible benefits at USC. His family got money, allegedly. He got money, allegedly. Hence, the NCAA took away, not the NCAA, excuse me, the Heisman Collective. So the NCAA, right, had them vacate their victories, and the NCAA levied penalties, but the Heisman Collective took his Heisman trophy from him. Okay?
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel came out, and other people said it was wrong. He got his Heisman back the other day. Okay? For me personally, Heisman or no Heisman, we saw what happened on the field. We saw the games. We saw this man do what he did. So I don't care that they took his Heisman because we saw him win the Heisman on the field. That's number one. So first of all, what do you think about him getting this Heisman back? And what do you think about them taking it in the first place?
I think it's well overdue. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy he got his Heisman trophy back. It's well overdue. I think it was an incident where they was housing his family in some house, and something happened with the rent being paid, and that's why they got in trouble. With that being said, I think it's well overdue that deserving of the Heisman. They never should have took it away. I mean, come on, we know college football has a history of paying players, taking care of players, history of that, and to single out one person.
No, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's not right to say, right? So even if people were doing it illegally, the ones that get caught still get penalized, right? I mean, people rob stores all the time and get away with it. But if you don't get caught,
Right.
it's one thing. But if you get caught committing a crime, you got to do the time. So you can't say he shouldn't be penalized because guys are breaking the rules all the time.
Well, Frank,
you can't say that. That's unfair.
Hold on. Johnny Manziel broke the rules, and he didn't get penalized. And it was a known fact that he was breaking the rules. He didn't get penalized. Why you penalize one person and don't penalize the other one. This is what I'm saying. The NCAA has, they're sending mixed signals because you penalize one guy, then you don't penalize the other guy, knowing that the other guy took money.
Well, there's levels to this, right? So that's an interesting point that you bring up. But there's levels to crimes you commit. When the NCAA sanctions people, they're level 3 sanctions, they're level 2 sanctions, they're level 1 sanctions, right? So there are always levels to crimes and the punishment, even in real life, right? So there are levels to crime. But let me just go back and say this. The reason why.
Hold on. Let's call it what it is, Frank.
The reason.
Let's call it what it is.
Go ahead.
Reggie Bush is black. Johnny Manziel is white.
Okay. And listen. Okay. And I want to talk about the WNBA along those lines in a minute too. But okay, we can rock with that. You can rock with that. But let me say this. Let me just make sure we tell everybody the reason why he got his Heisman back was because of the new NIL situation with players being able to make money off their name, image, and likeness, right,
Yeah.
So because of that now, and NIL deals and players being able to get paid, they reinstated his Heisman and gave him his Heisman back,
Yeah.
But now, now I asked the question, okay? And this wasn't an NCAA thing. The NCAA is different, okay? But now I ask this question. The NCAA, because this opens up a Pandora's box. It's a slippery slope because now that NIL is okay? And this happened with cannabis, for instance. People had cannabis convictions. When cannabis became legalized in some places, they overturned those convictions. The laws changed. People got out of jail, okay?
Yes.
Now, I got a question. What about basketball coaches, basketball players who had to vacate wins, vacate championships, lose games, got in trouble, coaches, etc., over the same situation? I'll give you a few examples. Michigan, Chris Webber got some money. Michigan lost. They had to pull the banners down, right? Michigan, they got penalized. The Fab Five, the great Fab Five team, penalized, right? Jim Boeheim, they had made him vacate wins at Syracuse. Rick Pitino, right? Rick Pitino had to vacate wins, okay? And hold on, it goes even further, okay? Not only did people have to vacate wins, but additionally, some guys went to jail for this.
Yes.
Right? Bud Richardson, a person that we know very well, Eric, obviously, was an assistant coach at the University of Arizona. Impermissible benefits he allegedly paid a player. The program got in trouble. He went to jail, Eric, to jail, right? So you got coaches going to jail. So the question is, do you now reinstate those wins, okay? And then how do you make those coaches whole, Eric, where you took away their ability to make a living, right? Civilly, I guess they can sue, but how do you make those coaches whole, Eric? I know it's a lot in that question, but give me your thoughts about that,
Well, so we're going to start off with the coaches. I think that coaches should be allowed to go back into coaching immediately. I think that, they should go right into coaching. There shouldn't be no show clause, effect on some of these coaches. And for my man, Book Richardson, his record as a felony should be expunged. You know what I'm saying? That should be expunged. Some of these guys, like you said, there's some jail time, affected the entire family. So I think that it's only right that they are allowed to go back into their profession. That's number one. As far as
and let me just add to that, and they should be civilly compensated as well, because like you say, it's hurt families. People lost, houses.
Yes.
weren't able to make a profession, with blackballed from the sport, Eric. So let's talk about that too. They should be able to be compensated as well.
Yes. And then as far as
Okay.
The wins and losses, I think that also they should put those wins back on those programs, give them back their wins. The Fab Five should hang their banners up. You know what I mean? Because what they did for the coach and what they did for college basketball was something that was never seen before. So all these things, the NIL deals have affected all these, changes in the game of basketball as far as these programs and these colleges. Give them back their wins, put the banners back up, and we move on.
Right. Okay. Well, listen. Shout out to Reggie Bush. You know what I mean? I'm glad he got his Heisman reinstated. I thought, we saw it on the field, electrifying, good for him. But I really think this is going to open up a Pandora's box. And I think a lot of people are going to want to get to the front of the line and get compensated or get wins reinstated, etc. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic that comes from this Reggie Bush situation.
Yes.
So let's shift gears and talk about something that we talk about all the time, something that we love. Let's talk about the fight game. We had a good fight, all right? We had a really good fight. Garcia versus, to me, Haney, the most overrated fighter in the game. Devin, Mr. Overrated Haney, the guy who's a daddy's boy, whose father, okay, runs everything for him, speaks for him, brags for him, okay? He's a sheltered guy. Floyd Mayweather left the game, and they were trying to find the next black superstar fighter, right? Charismatic, flashy, and the father created the right persona, Eric, and they made Haney that guy, okay? And then we watched him beat Kambosos. Very weak win, mediocre win, in my opinion. And then after he beat Kambosos, they ordained him, okay? Then after that, Eric, I think Lomachenko killed him, beat him very bad. But he won the Lomachenko fight, but it was too much money on the line. Lomachenko, I think he's Ukrainian. I believe he is. Older guy, right? He's not the flashy guy that Haney is. And Haney's it's big money on Haney. So they gave Haney that fight when Lomachenko clearly won. Okay. Now he fights Garcia. Now he fights Garcia. Ryan Garcia, Mr. Internet, Mr. whatever you want to call him. Okay. And by the way, Haney also is significantly bigger than everybody he fights. Right. When he rehydrates, he's clearly the bigger fighter. He fought Garcia, somebody his size, and even though he was 3 pounds over the limit, he got similar size. And Garcia pummeled him, Eric. He looked so outclassed in that fight. It was crazy, So outclassed. Tell me your thoughts about overrated Haney, okay? Garcia. And what do you think about that fight,
Very disappointed. Very disappointed in Devin Haney and Bill Haney. I think they went into training camp with the wrong approach and how to fight Ryan Garcia. I think they should have stuck to the jab and boxed him more. I think they went into the fight thinking the man only has a left hook. I can get to him. I think when you got a guy like Ryan Garcia who has that power, that powerful left hook, you outbox him. You know what I'm saying? You outbox him, move, stick and move. And I think they went in with the wrong game plan. So that's number one. Number two is, right, the weight, right? The weight. I think both of those guys naturally are like 154 guys. You know what I'm saying? But because they are at that weight, they got to drain themselves to 140. Obviously, Ryan Garcia didn't make the weight. You know what I'm saying? Which they said he wasn't trying to make the weight. He wasn't trying to make the weight. So he said, "I'm not going to make the weight. We're just going to box. We're just going to fight at the weight that I come in." Right? So that's another factor that played a major role in the fight.
Eric, it was 3 pounds. Stop making excuses, bro. It's 3. I mean, it's not that much weight. 3 pounds, Eric. Come on.
Weight, but then when you come into the fight, you might be 8 pounds, 9 pounds heavier than that.
Well, and Haney rehydrates too, and he goes up too.
I get that.
They both rehydrate.
I get that. And we also got to look at the history they have. They fought 6 times within the amateur ranks. They fought 6 times, and they said it was 3-3. This was the deciding factor, and I think Ryan Garcia obviously came out victorious. Showed the world that he's not just a left hook guy. He put it together, and congratulations to him.
I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised, right? I mean, now look, Garcia had a pretty good amateur. He was a good amateur as well. So let's not act like he didn't have fights. But I know how serious he was as a boxer. He felt like more of a YouTube internet sensation, right? But he came out and he fought and he showed that he had a little bit more than just that left hook one. So now the question is this, okay? Now you're Garcia, okay? You lost to Tank Davis. There was a rehydration clause. Tank is significantly smaller. There was a rehydration clause in that contract. So ultimately, Garcia couldn't rehydrate up too heavy, right? So there was a rehydration clause. Yes. I think that adversely affected him against Tank, okay? Yes. Tank is significantly smaller. Now, if you Garcia, what fight do you take next? Do you take the Haney rematch, okay? Or do you try to go to Tank with no rehydration clause and try to fight Tank again? Yeah. Which rematch do you take? Or do you try to get?
I'm taking the Tank fight. It's more money. You know what I'm saying? This is about money. This is not about finding the best available opponent. This is about money. So I'm going to fight Tank, get the most money I can out of that fight with no hydration clause, and it's a huge fight. Both of them guys will make over $30 million, you know, per team. So I'm going with that, and I'm going to go fight Tank.
Does Tank take that fight?
No way, no way, no way. No way, no way. Him and Calvin been ducking smoke for a long time. Him and Calvin been ducking smoke for a long time. Great fighter.
So Tank don't take the fight.
No, Tank ain't taking that fight. With no hydration clause, he's not taking that fight. Hell no. No way. No way. Remember, you got to remember, Tank is a small guy. He's a small guy. So
he is, yeah.
No hydration clause.
And that power may not carry.
That's
right.
That's what I'm trying to
That power may not carry.
Him and funny looking Calvin, they're not taking that fight. Calvin be wearing them glasses. Come on, Calvin.
No.
I know you're from Baltimore, but come on, man. They're not taking that fight, Frank. They're not taking that fight.
Yo, let me tell you this, E. But you know what I'm disappointed about, right? And it's a larger conversation, but how these guys don't fight each other more, right? I want to see Shakur Stevenson fighting, even though his last fight was atrocious, right? But those guys around that weight, I want to see Tank, I want to see Shakur, I want to see Haney, I want to see Garcia, I want to see Teofimo Lopez. I want to see these guys get it on, E.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I remember E watching Hagler, Hearns, Sugar Ray, Roberto Durant. Come on, man. I want to see these guys get everybody running from each other. E, let's fight, baby. That's the fight game. Muhammad Ali fought everybody, baby. Let's fight.
Today is not the fight game. It's the money game, Frank. It's the money game. These guys don't want to fight. And let me say something about Shakur. Shakur's a great young fighter, but he hasn't been tested yet. I want to see him when he gets rattled, when he gets rocked. How is he going to react? That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Because
that's real.
I haven't seen him. Nobody has touched him yet. I want to see him when somebody touch him. How is he going to react? Because we saw his last fight. He was dancing like the stars. What's the show? Dance with the Stars. He was dancing out there. He was not trying to box. He was dancing with the stars out there. Like, you know, come on, Shakur. You too good of a fighter. I just want to see when adversity hits, how you going to react.
But E, the other problem is nobody wants to fight the guy though, E. Like everybody's avoiding the guy. He's a dangerous guy to fight, right? I mean, because he's not a draw. The way he fights is boring. Nobody cares about him as a fighter, right? But that being said, he's a dangerous fighter.
He's
right?
He's a very dangerous fighter. Devin Haney offered him a fight. He said the money wasn't right. He wanted 50-50. Fight. If you're that good, fight, beat him, and then now you become the A-list. He didn't want to take it. And I get it. It's a money thing. You know, Mayweather messed the game up when it became about the money and not these guys fighting.
Yes.
Not these guys fighting. You know what I'm saying? For reputation. Let's fight. Like you said, let's fight. Let's get it on.
Yeah, money made. Hey, E, so listen, all good. That'll wrap up our fight talk. So, E, predictions on the NBA games tonight, okay? We got 2 games tonight. You got Boston versus Miami. Who you got in that game?
I got Boston.
Without Porzingis, by the way. No Porzingis.
Yeah, but I think Boston still has enough. I got Boston. You know, victorious in that game. You know what I mean?
Second game with another injury affecting the game. Second game tonight. Dallas Clippers in LA. Who you got?
Oh.
Without Kawhi Leonard.
I'm going Dallas because Dallas played a phenomenal game. They started off slow last game and had to come back. And you know, when you're down so much and to come back and make it a fight, make it a close game, that kind of takes so much out of you to make that final push. And that's what happened with Dallas last game. They were right there, but it just took so much out of them. Being down 25, I think it was, and to make that push, to make that run, it just took too much out of them. Kyrie played a hell of a game. You know, one of the top moves, you know, in the playoff. You know, that whatever he did, it was magical. I just think that Dallas will win tonight, and then we'll go back to bring it back to Dallas.
Okay, E. Well, listen, E. It's always a pleasure, bro, having you on the show, as always. And you know what we do at the very end, E? We give you the floor so you can shout out your Dominican brothers and sisters that are out there making it happen.
Okay.
Go do your thing, E.
So I want to give out the shout out to Esmeri Martinez. She just was drafted to the New York Liberty, second round. out of Arizona. Tremendous player. First Dominican woman WNBA player to be drafted into the WNBA. Kudos to her and her families. Congratulations to her, and expecting major things from her with the New York Liberty.
Shout out to her. Keep going, young lady. Make the Dominican brothers and sisters proud. Right. All right, E. Well, listen, E. Always a pleasure. Like I said, E. We appreciate you, man. We'll do it again soon. Take care, bro.
All right, no
we out. We out.
Wait, before we get out, before we leave, right, everybody, subscribe, like, comment on the show. Thank you.
Yes. Comment, everything. Show love. Show love, baby. Spread love and show love.